जेके टेक एआई पर आधारित डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन समाधान उपलब्ध कराने में दुनिया में सबसे आगे है, जिसने प्राइवेट मार्केट असेट्स के साथ प्रमुख डेटा इंटीग्रिटी प्लेटफॉर्म इन्वेनियम के साथ मिलकर वैकल्पिक क्षेत्र में बड़ा बदलाव लाने के लिए एक महत्वपूर्ण साझेदारी की घोषणा की है। इस साझेदारी के तहत ब्लॉकचेन और एआई का लाभ उठाकर वैकल्पिक निवेश के लिए इन्वेनियम का नेक्स्ट जनरेशन प्लेटफॉर्म विकसित किया जाएगा, ताकि दुनिया के प्राइवेट मार्केट का स्वरूप बदला जा सके।
This occasion marks the launch of a visionary alliance between two global innovators, joining forces to shape the next era of technological advancement. We are joined by an esteemed panel of leaders: Patrick O'Meara, Chairman and CEO, Invenium; Abhishek Singhania, Founder and Director, JK Tech; Samir Nagpal, President and CEO, JK Tech, who will walk us through the vision behind this partnership, the exciting road ahead, and what it means for the industry. To officially open the press conference and speak about the agenda and the broader vision of this collaboration, I now invite Abhishek to the stage. Abhishek.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to announce a strategic partnership between JK Tech and Invenium, a collaboration that promises to revolutionize an alternate investment landscape. JK Tech, as a global leader in AI-powered digital transformation solutions, is joining forces with Invenium, our pioneering data integrity platform for private market assets. Together, we are embarking on a journey to transform the global private markets through the development of Invenium's next generation platform for alternative investments. This platform will leverage the power of blockchain and AI to enhance data transparency, streamline transactions, and unlock new value for investors worldwide. This joint development integrates JK Tech's IP, enhancing Invenium's capabilities around structured data, and utilizes JK Tech's advanced engineering capabilities with Invenium's private market data operations orchestration. Our partnership aims to set a new standard for efficiency and trust in private markets investments. Recognize that the next generation of private markets will be digital and demand real-time data processing. A key component of this collaboration is integration of JK Tech's Gen AI, a key solution, Jiva, into the Invenium platform. This integration will empower institutional investors, asset managers, and financial firms with enhanced automation, data-driven insights, and intelligent decision-making capabilities. Both companies are committing significant joint investments to expand their reach across key markets in the US, Abu Dhabi, and India, reinforcing our dedication to transforming these markets. This partnership is expected to yield key business benefits, including AI-driven decision-making through advanced analytics, enhanced data integrity, and security via blockchain. Ultimately, this will empower financial institutions with greater accuracy and intelligence in managing alternative investments. Looking ahead, JK Tech has ambitious plans to further integrate with Invenium. We plan to expand our engineering services to fully incorporate the JK Tech's Jiva platform on the Invenium platform.
For the insightful talk about Invenium and the partnership. Abhishek, thank you very much. So I'll give you a little bit background. So as Pat mentioned about data, how do we use the data, how we leverage the data to generate some of the insights that can help you, like manage your asset portfolio. I'll tell you what JK Tech does. So JK Tech, as Pat mentioned, we are very deep into the engineering side. We have an IP that we created, and I'll talk a little bit more about Jiva on that side. But just to let you know, JK Tech is an AI leader in space, which is created a platform called Jiva, which is a Gen AI platform on top of data. So what it does, it actually helps you generate the insights that we talked about. It helps you create a data ontology, which is like the data fabric and the data ontology on top of it. And how do you use that particular data and what that particular LLM to generate some insights and actionable workflows out of that data. So that's two things. So that's what we do. A little bit more. JKTech is present mostly, we are very, very heavily focused on the US and Europe market, but with this presence, we are exploring the Middle East and we are also exploring the India market out there. That's what we are trying to do. Second thing, we are focused on some of the few industries, I would say. We are very strong on the retail and consumer side. We are focused on financial services and we are also there on the insurance side. That's the 4 industries that we are focused on, and we have a lot of solutions, a lot of use cases that we have used to generate data insights and actionable workflows on those particular use cases. And I'm going to give you a few of the things. Like, I'll give you an example. For insurance part, let's say, how is your fraud detection done? For example, how is the claim processing kind of improved? That's the second piece, I would say. The property damage assessment in terms of, let's say, if there is a damage on the property side and something on the regulatory reporting and compliance. These are some of the use cases that we have done on the insurance side and the financial service side. On the retail consumer side, I talk mostly about the 3 areas, and it encompasses everything out there. So on the retail consumer side, the first one is how can you enhance the sales? That is one important piece out there. The second is the customer experience. And third is, I would say, operations and supply chain management. That's the third piece of it. However, the one important piece that even Pat talked about was the security part of it. So there are scenarios where we have used our Jiva GenAI platform to figure out how is a fraud happening on a typical retail scenario. Let's say if there are 5 people doing some e-commerce transactions, how can that particular, I'm using some specific technology word, a spatial relationship, I would say, to figure out those 5 customers are creating a fraud, they're creating a scenario of doing the fraud. So those are some of those things that we have been able to kind of use our Jiva platform to kind of implement to various customers and help customers in those specific areas. So as Pat mentioned, this is our, so what we do in Jiva is we kind of merge the structured data and the unstructured data. Structured data you would have all seen. It's there on your databases that you would have seen. Again, I'm using a little bit technology term. But on the unstructured data could be anything related to your document, your PDF files, your images, your videos. It could be anything out there, right? So how do you marry these 2 data? And look at how can you generate some insights. A typical insurance use case, again, I'm just saying, you have data about the insurance and everything, but your policy information is there on a PDF document. How can you look at those things out there to generate some kind of ideas out there? How can you generate some of those things on the fraud detection and all? So that's something that we are expanding that into the private asset market that, as we mentioned, and that's how we are growing our partnership.
Thank you for being here, Sona. Thank you for hosting us. I'd like to thank you for not only receiving us, but for the vision that you have in this joint partnership. Invenium is focused on digitizing private market assets and allowing the data operations management for these assets to be understood at scale in order to drive understanding of those assets so that we can increase liquidity in these private markets. Today, there is a cliff between the public markets and the private markets. And that cliff, that yield cliff, the cost of money, the access to liquidity for private markets is substantially different than that of public markets. The primary differentiator between public markets and private markets is the access to data that is reliable and trustworthy. The utilization of AI and blockchain as a mechanism integrated together to understand the condition of an asset real time so that you can not only understand the performance of the asset, you can understand the value of the asset, then you can understand the impact on the entire capital stack, the debt, every piece of mezzanine debt, every piece of equity that's there. So not only can you understand it, you can understand the asset, you can trade against it, you can borrow against it better. And part of this is the ability not to create the world's largest database, but to understand the condition of the asset at the edge. Because these assets at the edge are getting more powerful and they're getting smarter. The creation of data that you have from a single Tesla versus an entire building that we're in, such as today, it creates data at scale. And this is what AI does, is it looks for large data set pattern recognition. And in that large data set pattern recognition, where you don't need structured data, but you can take unstructured data, begin to understand it at scale, real time, but then you need context and attribution in order to audit it and have transparency back to the information about the condition, as an example of the building we're sitting in today. If we want to borrow against that asset, we want to pledge that asset, we want somebody to invest in and out of that asset, we need to understand the condition of that asset, not 9 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. We need to understand the condition of that asset today, as well as its historical performance over the last several years. And this is what blockchain, teamed up with AI, can deliver us. Trust and understand the seasoning of that data, and then the access to that data to surveil it real time, but also for that asset owner to have full confidence that they control the data and they're not giving it to somebody else who will use it and abuse it, or that data will fall into the hands of their competitors. This is what Invenium provides. In partnership with JK Tech, we are integrating some of their IP in the form of Jiva. This is going to allow us to take our unique capabilities, plug in Jiva and the ability for their API and connectivity to structured knowledge graph solutions, and with those APIs to deliver real-time queries where we can use AI against both public and private data sets. Invenium was built for private data sets, and with this partnership, we have referenceable public data sets that we can connect to private data sets. What does this mean? Better data on assets, the ability to trust the source of that data, the ability to surveil them, and that will unlock liquidity in small businesses. It will unlock liquidity in assets.
Very fact that the entire data validation process is so strong. There is absolutely nobody who has such a data validation process globally. So in India, this is going to be something very new. And till now, there is nobody here who is actually doing it. We are trying to see if there is any company which has implemented it. But I don't see anybody here. In fact, globally, I don't see any company which is even close to what we are trying to do.
Yeah, and if I can, I think my mic is on. If I can respond to that as well. Part of our go-to-market is to just demonstrate the functionality. So in the United States, we are working with one of the states who, in order to improve their creditworthiness or the credit and their bond rating, they're beginning to index the assets that that state, in this particular case, that county and that city own on their balance sheet. And once those assets are on their balance sheet, they can begin to surveil the performance of that asset, so they can begin to understand what the comparables are and what the value of this is. So this is cities' parking garages, this is municipal buildings, etc. Assets that have historically existed on their balance sheet with a value of 0, right? And now what we're going to do is give them the ability to value their balance sheet. These are the types of functions where on a daily basis we're going to be able to collect the data, power that into a valuation model, and mark that asset. And as we can mark that asset with a daily basis for the balance sheet of a city, a state, a county, in the United States, we can deliver that. And that's an example of connecting that to balance sheets, as an example, here in India. And that opens the door for, as an example, tokenization. But it also changes the ability to present data to lenders, borrowers, to create liquidity into infrastructure projects such as toll roads, rail, etc. And all of this, it gets sped up and it becomes more financially efficient if we have good data real time. And that's what we're going to do. And the primary go-to-market is demonstrating its performance, right? Because we do believe we have a globally unique product, that our two products together, we want to show this to the market.